With the exciting announcement that Sins of a Solar Empire 2 will launch on Steam in just a few weeks from now on the 15th of August, I thought it would be a perfect time to dive into the game. In this video, we'll look at the rich lore and the universe that the game takes place in, and I'll follow this up with another video where I'll look at some of the gameplay elements and mechanics I'm especially looking forward to experiencing. So if Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is your entry point into the series, this video will explain a little bit about the factions and the lore surrounding the universe. So let's dive in. Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is set in a galaxy on the brink of war, and the game's timeline spans thousands of years, marked by key moments and pivotal events with the rise and fall of powerful factions. And the galaxy has experienced significant historical events that have led to the current state of conflict. The overarching narrative involves three primary factions: the Trader Emergency Coalition, abbreviation is TEC, the Vasari Empire, and the Advent Unity. Each of these own factions have their own histories and motivations that drive the storyline forward. So let's look at the Trader Emergency Coalition first. The TEC's origins lie in the trader world, which enjoyed a golden era of trade and prosperity under the Trade Order. This peaceful existence was shattered when the Vasari, an alien force, invaded trader space, catching the unprepared traders off guard. The initial response was disastrous. Political infighting delayed the military response, and the hastily assembled trader fleet, made up of repurposed civilian vessels, was no match for the Vasari. Despite these setbacks, the resilient traders adapted, transforming their economic prowess into a powerful war machine. Factories and trade routes were repurposed to support the war effort, creating a well-coordinated military force. The TEC was formally established out of a necessity, uniting the previously autonomous trader worlds under a single military command. This cohesion has allowed the TEC to stall the Vasari advance. However, the reprieve was short-lived as they soon faced another threat, the return of the exiled Advent. More on those in a moment. But first of all, let's look at the Vasari Empire. The Vasari were once the rulers of a vast empire that spanned countless worlds. Their expansion began at the Galactic core, subjugating or exterminating any species they encountered. The Vasari maintained control through orbital dominance, minimizing surface presence to prevent rebellions. The downfall of the Vasari Empire began with a mysterious and relentless enemy that emerged from within their core world. This unknown threat devastated the inner planets, forcing the Vasari into a constant state of retreat. For 10,000 years, the Vasari have been on the run, replenishing resources and moving from system to system to stay ahead of their pursuers. When the Vasari arrived in trader space, they initially expected an easy conquest. However, they soon found themselves in a prolonged conflict with both the TEC and the Advent. The Vasari's advanced technology, including phase space travel and nanotechnology, gives them a significant edge in mobility and combat, but their resources are stretched thin and their situation grows increasingly desperate. And the final major faction, the Advent Unity. The Advent story begins over 1,000 years ago when they were exiled by the ancestors of the TEC. The Advent were originally a group of humans who embraced forbidden practices, including psychic abilities and collective consciousness. Their exile drove them to the fringes of known space, where they developed their unique society and advanced their technology. Their society is highly cohesive, governed by a collective consciousness known as the Unity. This psychic connection allows them to wield powerful psi-tech, making them formidable opponents in battle. The Advent's reappearance created a three-way conflict with the TEC and the Vasari, each faction vying for dominance in the galaxy. The Advent's goal is not just territorial expansion, but the complete assimilation of other factions into their unity. So how about some of the key events and conflicts within the lore of this game? Well, here's some of the most significant. First of all, the Vasari invasion, dated in the early 3000s. The arrival of the Vasari was the catalyst for the formation of the Trader Emergency Coalition. The Vasari, fleeing from an unknown enemy that decimated the empire, entered trader space with the intent to conquer and harvest resources for their continued survival. This invasion caught the trader worlds completely unprepared, leading to significant early losses. The Vasari's advanced phase space technology allowed them to quickly and efficiently bypass trader defenses. Within months, they had colonized over a dozen worlds, meeting little resistance from the unprepared and politically fragmented trader order. The disaster highlighted the need for a unified military command, leading to the controversial formation of the TEC. This new coalition centralized military authority and pooled resources, allowing for a more coordinated and effective resistance against the Vasari. In the mid-3000s, we saw the return of the Advent. The Advent's return marked the beginning of a new phase in the galaxy's conflict. Exiled 1,000 years prior, the Advent had evolved into a powerful, cohesive society driven by their collective psychic consciousness, known as the Unity. The Advent's initial assaults were devastating, leveraging their advanced psi-tech to disrupt and overpower TEC defenses, and their use of psychic abilities gave them a unique edge, allowing them to manipulate and demoralize their enemy. And their presence introduced a new and unpredictable element to the ongoing war between the TEC and the Vasaris. Getting on to the late 3000s and the early 4000s, we saw the Great Wars. The Great Wars were a series of prolonged and devastating conflicts involving all three major factions. These wars were marked by shifting alliances, epic battles, and significant technological advances. The first major conflict erupted shortly after the Advent's return. Initially, it was a three-way war with no clear alliances. Each faction fought to secure their interests and defend against mutual threat. The ongoing wars led to a technological arms race, with each faction developing new weapons and defences. The TEC focused on fortifications and heavy firepower, the Vasari on phase space technology and nanotech, and the Advent on enhancing their psi-tech and collective ability. In the mid-4000s, there was a stalemate and entrenchment. After years of intense conflict, the galaxy entered a period of stalemate. The front lines stabilised, with each faction deeply entrenched in their respective territories. This period was marked by intermittent skirmishes and a focus on rebuilding and fortification. The TEC used this time to strengthen their defences, constructing massive star bases and fortifying key worlds. Their strategy focused on attrition, using their economic strength to outlast their enemies. The Vasari, constantly on the move, faced severe resource shortages. They resorted to desperate measures, including raiding and scavenging, to sustain their fleet. Their technological edge remained, but their situation grew increasingly precarious. The Advent faced internal divisions, as some factions within the Unity questioned their aggressive expansionist policies. This led to political and strategic shifts within the Advent as they balanced their desire for unification with the practicalities of prolonged war. So that's a quick introduction to the lore and factions of Sins of a Solar Empire, which I think adds immense depth to the gameplay, creating a universe rich with history, with conflict, and interesting relationships between the factions. Each faction has its own unique story, providing a compelling backdrop for the strategic battles that players engage in. I hope this helps. I hope you're looking forward to playing this game like I am. In a follow-up video, I'll explore what I'm looking forward to the most about the game, and what sounds particularly interesting regarding its gameplay elements, mechanics and strategies. But what do you think? Are you looking forward to this game? Let me know in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video and want more content like this, please feel free to subscribe. But until next time, take care.